Hey, welcome back to the Half Thumb Homestead. So I have this here Dewalt sander and the cord's all jacked up. So I'm gonna show you how to take this and make it good again without having to buy a new sander. I've never done this before, so this will be interesting. I've done it on other equipment, but not on this one. So here goes something, right? This Torx bit, it is a Torx T20. I believe that's what it is. It says 2060 on it, but I think it's a T20. So we're going to start by taking the top of the sander off. Got a switch up here, obviously make sure it's not plugged in. We'll lift the top off. It's going to give us access to the insides here. So the wiring goes underneath here, down and over to the switch, etc., etc. So we're going to hopefully fix that. I don't know. So the top bolts are T20s. The inside bolts are T15s. And we can pick the switch up a little bit, pop the switch out. We're going to use a small screwdriver inside here to pick these wires up out of the recesses. This is where they're pinched to hold in place. Now it's good to take photos of this stuff, that way you can, if you forget how it goes together, you can put it back together later. It looks like one of the power cords goes from our cord itself to the switch here, and the other one goes down here. So you have to split the whole case. This is going to be, I think I said a T15. It's just a metal plate on there, and what that serves a purpose of, that is your wire relief. Basically squishes down the wiring here so it doesn't pull out. Now we're going to have to trim up this a little bit in order to get to go through this bendy piece here. Let me grab some flush cuts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the insulation here. I'm not going to cut the wire, because I want to know where the wire goes. It's just enough to get the wire to go through the center like so. Right? So now the cord's going to be a little bit shorter. You can, actually if you want a really long cord, you can put in a power extension cord of 25 feet if you wanted to. I don't want one that long, so I'm not going to do that. So what I was saying is that after we get this done and we put this in here, see how the wire sits up on top a little bit? What it's going to do is it's going to squish that wire down so you can't pull on the actual connections. So we'll start with this wire here, getting it out of the way. This is our switch wire, and that is our black wire. And this is pretty dirty, but we'll just disconnect it here. Take a pair of needle nose. We can grab a hold of that, and then we push against the switch to disconnect it here, slide it up. And also use your screwdriver up underneath like so. Pop it loose. That's the first wire, right? That's the black one. You can see here also that it had worn through right there. so that was going to be a problem sooner or later. The other wire goes down inside the stator down here. So get one right, you can actually pull one of these pieces of string. Okay, we'll cut the insulation for you. Now, these are sharp, so don't poke the wire insulation. So that gets our wire exposed now. And this will be our new end and go inside here like so, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to change out the black wire here. And maybe we'll just, this guy's not damaged, so maybe we'll just clamp that down and then we'll tuck this other one inside here like so, just so we don't have to change them both. So now I have a little kit somewhere that has terminal ends in it. I'll have to go get that. So we're using what's called a flag terminal because it looks like a flag. I took the insulation off one because I don't have any that are just, you know, laying around. And the way this thing is situated is you can't have the wire come straight out the back because it will make contact with this here plastic and it won't fit in there very well. And I know a bunch of you are wondering about this, but this is, doing electrical work is not how I lost my thumb. So I cut the insulation off this red flag terminal, and that's what I'm going to use to replace this one here. It is a lot bigger, a little bigger, so we're going to, well, actually fit real good. So to get my length of wire right, I'm going to start by taking my wire relief and putting it back on here like so. I'm going to take my T15s, my metal block here, and just put it back on. Now you want to make sure when you're putting this wire relief in that your wires don't get in the way of the cap screw. That's your cap screw there on top. I'm going to take this one since we're not going to cut it, and I'm just going to go around that cap screw and tuck it in all pretty. So I'm going to use the wire relief here to hold my wire in place. Don't smoke one side down, tighten them down together, make it uniform. And you don't have to tighten them down till they break free. Just snug them up real good. So like I said, what that does is now I can pull on this and it's not pulling on the wires, which are pulling on the terminal ends. That's what the wire relief is about. And when we put it back together, this guy will go up inside here, tuck inside there. I'm going to run my wires, I'll loosen this up, slide this guy back up, and then tighten it up again. So my switch sits in here. This one, like I said, we're going to tuck behind the upper screw here. We'll take and we'll run the wire back inside the clamp in here, the wire clamp. Remember to try not to damage the insulation. Make sure you don't banjo the wire, which means it has a big quick bend in it. You want to make it so it fits pretty nice in there. And then when we're done, this is how it's going to sit inside like so. Okay? Just to keep it from, I don't want to cut that one because the terminal down there is pretty far. So now we kind of know where this guy has to run. This guy's going to go inside like this. Comes around the front. And we're going to make the wire about that long. Now we're going to strip this. There's all kinds of wire strippers out there. Use whatever you want. There's the suicide strippers, which just have like a circle in the front and it just wedges down. You can use those. You can take the old wire to figure out what gauge this is. I'm going to go with, start with 18. 18's too big. 20. Okay, 20 gauge did not. Well, let's go with. Let's go with 18 again here. 18 looks good. It's not going to strip out any of the, break any of the wires. So 18 gauge it is. Need about 1/4 inch on that, maybe a little bit less. I held the back of the wire and I push against this to break my insulation off. Then I give it a twist. Now there are tools to crimp these on. Pretty sure I've got one somewhere. Being a flag terminal is a little bit weird, so I'm going to do next best thing, homeowner special. Pair of vice grips. So I'm going to take the vice grips and I'm going to stick them over the top where my wire is going to get crimped. I'm going to stick my wire in the hole. I want to make sure that it's all in there. You don't want pieces sticking out. Right at the end there, so we know it goes in real nice. Get my crimper ready. Now mind you, that is not how you do it the correct way, but it does work. And then we'll take the wire, go up this way on it. Use my needle nose. Get inside here. Seat it real good. Now these are a little bit bigger than the other ones. These are smaller ends. Hopefully that'll still work. So we'll tuck the wire in here. There is enough room, see? Barely enough to hold my switch right there. And then we got to tuck the other wire back in the other side over here. So because the terminal end is bigger, we're going to bend out like so. The switch has to be far enough back to clip in here, and it just doesn't want to go in. Here we go. So you see that in there, I got it just back in the hole. Sits in there pretty nice. Tuck this guy around. Okay, so now we got to loosen this up to get the wire relief rubber boot in here. Just enough to slide the boot up top. And in the recess, and then tighten it down. Same thing, tighten each side a little bit. And you can make it tight. I'll take this guy and tuck him in here. Everything else looks good. Take the cover plate. Get your wire boot back in there. Lean it forward. I'm going to swap over to our T20. Start each one first. them up. Plug it in. It works. And that's how you fix the wiring on your any tool in the house. Any type of tool that ends up having a damaged cord, you can do that with. You can even change the whole cord out. If it's broken down here, you can change the connector out. If it's broken in the middle, like I said, you can go buy a cheap extension cord, a 12 gauge, cut it however length you want, and wire it in. That's where you have it. Have some out.